Hi everyone, and welcome to the SwiftCase Productivity Podcast. My name's Adam Sykes, the founder of SwiftCase, the professional productivity platform, and today I've got with me
Phil Whitby, developer at SwiftCase.
And Craig McCarthy, development manager at SwiftCase.
and king of puns.
But yeah.
Listen out for Craig's puns
Pun
at the end of this as you leave us in.
No pressure, Craig.
The end of podcast call to actions.
Yeah.
So stay listening for those. If nothing else, that they're worth a go.
Yeah.
So today, I have to spend a lighter note, but today we're going to be talking about stress management.
Yeah.
And I think you'd read an article recently about some recent research.
Yeah. It was in mice only, so it's only a model, but it was suggesting that if you increase the stress in the mice, that has a knock-on effect to the what you call the microbiome, the gut bacteria, and then that then has a knock-on effect. The change in the gut bacteria then has a knock-on effect on the immune system, so that they increase the autoimmune response. So the link is that the more stressed you are, the more the likelihood of autoimmune related disorders there are. And so obviously when we think of autoimmune disorders, we think of things like hay fever is a very mild form of an overreaction which causes you to attack parts of your face or other parts of your body, like arthritis, and there's plenty of others that people are aware of. And I just thought that was really interesting. And from my previous career as a teacher, I recognised that people were very ill, and some people were like, oh, it's all in their head. It's not really. It's like, but actually the consequences of that stress led to a lot of disorders like this that I'm now sort of understanding.
There is a pathway.
Because it's a model, it's not necessarily how it works in humans. It may not be that severe. It may take a much longer time. But to my mind, it was like the relationship between stress and disorders seems to be quite strong. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
I suppose the clear thing with this is, I suppose, relating to productivity, which what we generally talk about, is the idea that, or this old idea that you get the most out of people by putting them in a stressful environment and like basically work them to death is the best way to get productivity out of people. And the idea that stress actually not only puts you in a stress state, which makes you less productive because you can't focus, which we've discussed in past sort of podcast episodes, but also this idea that it's going to make you ill with real physical illnesses, as well as the mental health manifestations as well. That you've got it's a double hit, isn't it? So you're gonna have people off sick with issues of maybe leading on to other mental health issues like depression, because they can't cope with the situation they're in, and then you've also got physical manifestations as well of this stress. There's going to mean people are off again as well, so you get your productivity is getting hit by the lack of focus when they're in, the mental health time that they need to take out because they need to get their mental health back on track. And now we're throwing in, this is going to move into physical illness as well. So there's definitely a conversation needs to be had around work culture about, is driving someone's like productivity with effectively fear and causing stress the best option. And clearly the research showing
there's an interest in regarding mental health. I saw another article which demonstrated that suicides, this was in the US, increased at particular times of year and times in the month of the year. So traditionally when people were getting paid or Christmas time, you know what I mean, like, so when there's certain pressures, you had a spike in suicide. So I mean, obviously that's not an autoimmune disease, but it is literally like a manifestation of self-harm that autoimmune disease is. It's like the most extreme, isn't it? But I think people have always had and understood there's a link between mental health and physical illness. It's just that I think you kind of need that demonstration, that scientific link, to really get the conversation going properly in the right direction.
Yeah, because otherwise people don't believe it. Like you said, there's a lack of belief. First off, there's a lack of belief which is changing now. That mental health is actually the same as physical health. To put it on the same footing. I think that's hopefully where the way things are going now. To see that whatever's going on in your head is as important as what's going on in the rest of you, because in the past it hasn't been. Stress wasn't seen as a
and it's kind of like
on the same level,
mind, isn't it? Yeah. So like you could see it like stress. Oh, you're demonstrating mental health issues. Well, it's literally a causal chain between that and then eventually physical illnesses. So you're really like, if you ignore that, it's inevitable that this will come about. So I think those links haven't been made.
No.
Till recently.
Till recently, yeah.
Well, why do you think do you reckon it's getting worse?
Or do you reckon? Actually, well, I think some factors will make it worse. So, like, if it stopped being the responsibility of a business, I don't know how much, because I'm not a business owner. Like, the responsibility lands on the business to maintain mental health and the physical health. So when someone's off, there's no government. You have it for maternity leave. So if someone's pregnant, then part of their wage is paid by the government, right?
Yeah.
But if someone's ill, there's no governmental supplement for illness, is there?
There is statutory sick pay.
Oh, that's right. How much is that?
Not much.
Right, yeah. Compared to the maternity, which is like a significant part of the first 3 months, is that right?
Yeah, it's like 90% of your
exactly. So
salary.
So the onus still is on the business, right, to pay for it. So as long as, do you think as a business owner, as long as that stays like that, then it will mean that businesses are forced to care about mental health, and if anything like that changes. So if the government suddenly said, "Oh, actually, you know what? We'll take over."
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I suppose at the moment there's lots of things about people, like certainly in bigger businesses and HR, about getting people back to work, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, we haven't really had any issues with this, long-term sickness or anything like that. But like we were saying before, if it's related to stress, surely the best thing a business can do, rather than coming up with all these plans about long-term sickness and how to get people back into work, is to actually make the business culture less stressful.
Stop treating the symptoms.
And exactly. Change the cause. Which is what I mean. Hopefully, that's what we try and do here. Is like,
I think we've got a good culture. One thing I was reading recently, actually, the reason I asked that is because there's a lot of belief that stress has become a lot worse in the workplace because work's almost become a bit more of a 24-hour thing now because of
technology.
And the likes of emails flying out.
Oh, good point.
And there was interesting. I think it was on LinkedIn the other day, and they said Sunday evening has become the new Monday morning.
Just get ahead of it. Get ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the idea that people are already thinking about, like during their downtime, they're already thinking about, the next working day, I've got to get this done. And I think that it kind of harks back to the way a business operates as well. Like, if people haven't got enough time to do the work, why?
That's interesting.
Why don't they have enough time to do the work, and why are they being overworked? Like, is there anything the business can do?
Yeah, because I commented on that LinkedIn thing. I think a big part of the issue, I think, like email is definitely one of them, is the idea that email replaced mail. Now, when you used to get mail, you only opened it twice a day, didn't you? If you got two posts, unless it was like internal mail, I suppose might be different. But you got mail in the morning, and like if you got a second post in the UK, we had like a sort of a midday post, and we were used to. I don't think you don't get second posts anymore. It used to be 2 posts a day. They'd be the only times you got interrupted by mail. But now everyone thinks that they treat email, like the equivalent to instant chat. Where it expects an instant response. And I think actually if people just went, no, this is mail, I'll open it in the morning and maybe I'll do a second post at lunchtime. And there's no mail on Sundays anyway. And there's only one mail maybe on a Saturday if you're interested in working Saturdays. But if you started treating it like that, then people wouldn't be thinking about this stress. I think people need to really consider what is urgent. And I think there's too many people think everything to do with them is urgent. Let's do everything straight away, and let's not actually think about what we're doing. Let's just send an email because it's instant. And I think that the trouble is we correlate communication methods that are instant with requiring the response and the thought behind the response to also be instant. Now, that's like one is putting stress on people because they're working Sunday nights, you know, weekends, evenings, whenever, you know, days off. But also, it's reducing the quality and the amount of thought that goes behind the prioritization about what's important, because you're responding straight away to stuff that's probably not important. You know, someone's asking you an email about something that's actually not for 2 weeks away. And if it was a letter, they wouldn't expect a response for probably like a week or two.
That's so important, because if you've built up this this idea that you reply straight away, if something urgent does come along and you don't reply to it within what they've expected, then it's not going to look great, is it?
Yeah, and we build up these sort of expectations for people that we've built up ourselves. So like, I try to not answer emails.
That's interesting.
I try not to have my email open. Because if you have your email open or the notifications on, you're gonna get pestered, aren't you? And you're gonna be stopping, you're gonna get interrupted, you're not gonna get the work done that you thought you were gonna do. And then when your expectations don't meet with your actual reality, it causes stress. You know, and it's the same with everything. I mean, like, there are occasions when someone needs to urgently get hold of you. That's what phone calls are for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because that the definition of a phone call, it needs the two people to speak. So you've got to interrupt someone with a phone call. You don't phone someone unless you're going to interrupt them. You know you're going to interrupt them. Whereas an email, you don't even think that you're interrupting someone, but you are.
The whole thing of a phone call is so intrusive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
So it should only be used when you want to intrude someone. We need to take emails back to being non-intrusive communication, like mail used to be.
I agree.
That's really interesting. Because I was thinking then, it's quite stressful to get email just to read it. So even on a Sunday, if you get an email and you go, well, I'm not going to respond, but I'll read it. It can activate you, put you in that mode
of thinking about it.
But I'll tell you what is also stressful. It's also stressful to feel like something could be happening that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
So in a way, isn't it? It's like, so you're like, so I imagine before, if you went away from work, but work was still going on while you went there, there would be, especially as a business owner, you might have a nagging feeling, what if there's something going on?
It's hard to get over that, and initially it is hard, especially like that's really hard when you've got a business and you go away on holiday. So if you've got the business and you've actually managed to go away on holiday, like wanting to know what's going on is really hard, and you've got to trust people who are like obviously running your business in your absence, but two, I suppose that's where like things like having a proper system in place comes from. If you know that you've got a system in place, that everything always happens in a set way, and you know what the system is, you develop the system with your team of employees or however you develop your system. And also you might even have monitoring systems, or you just look at a phone and go, yeah, everything's great, everything's green tick, everything's got a tick against it. Don't need to know the detail, I just need to know the summary level. If you've got something like that in place, that helps to reduce stress, because you know that everyone's working to a set pattern. You know that that's being followed, and you know everyone's trained on that.
If you don't have that, then you kind of then hand over to an individual who you might intuitively assume knows what's going on just because they're near you for 2 years, but actually their kind of vision of what should be happening may be completely contradictory to you. You know what I mean?
That's the key thing, I think, for a business owner. I suppose if it was a diagram, if you're a business owner, like sat in the centre of a load of levers pulling everything, and everyone else is attached around you,
someone else should pull these levers,
and then you go away and like the person operating the machine's gone, and you just go, oh, you've hung around a bit, you sit in this machine and like control everything. One, that's not going to outwork, and two, it's going to be like really stressful for the person you drop in.
Absolutely.
However, if the machine is actually a machine that everyone gets instructions from and reacts to, and the business owner's job actually is not to be anything to do with that machine, just to sort of see the outputs of it and to like monitor it, that's the point you want to be in, because then you're going to reduce your stress. Because you don't need to be there. The business operates without you.
I think some people can't let go of that control. Though,
you need to swap. You need to stop being like inside your business and be sort of outside looking in, an overview of your business. more like, you know, the classic sort of films like Clash of the Titans, where like the gods are like looking down on the people below. But that sounds really. I don't think business owners aren't gods, but do you know what I mean? That's the level of detachment
distraction. Yeah.
You should have from your business to see the bigger picture,
rather
than be buried inside this system of you know, that you can make little movements and change things around as like as you're above, but you're not down below dictating, as if you know that's when you've got, you know, that's stressful for the business owner, because they're just too overwhelmed and involved and can't see the, you know, the wood for the trees or the forest for the tree or whatever. And it's stressful for the staff because they're being micromanaged and dictated to, and the constant pressure.
Yeah.
So
I agree totally with that. Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's probably, well, one, it's about stress, but it's also about how implementing the right culture and processes
benefits everyone,
everyone, the business owner included, in managing their stress. So I suppose if anyone's got any comments about stress and how it's, you know, affecting them and how they build a work culture that sort of mitigates stress or prevents a stressful situation from happening in the first place, then drop it in the comments below.
Yeah, and if you want to see some of the ways that we can help with that, head over to swiftcase.co.uk, and don't worry about missing any of our updates or anything like that if you subscribe to @SwiftCaseUK on social media. And don't forget to leave a comment below.
No, we're nearly there.
What was it? I was too busy looking for his comment.
It likes.
It's
likes and subscribes.
Sorry.
So if you like this video, don't forget to click like, and don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos or listen to more podcasts if you're listening like this. And unfortunately, Craig forgot any of his puns.
No, I said don't worry.
Okay, fair enough. That was pretty weak, but don't forget to check out our other podcast for some of Craig's excellent puns, and we'll come up with a hashtag of Craig Punzel or whatever else.
If you can think of a better name,
Craig's puns.
Yeah, leave a comment underneath.
Leave a comment below,
and don't steal the handle.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks everyone for listening to SwiftCase Productivity Podcast, and we'll see you again next time.